This is the 105th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the first week of September 2012. This episode is titled The Perfect Group. CloudFocus Weekly is sponsored by Arkus, cloud computing experts. I'm your host, Jason Atwood, and joining me for 105 times in a row is co-podcaster Justin Elstein. Justin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's been it's a weird schedule because I feel like I've been away.
You have been away.
Oh, that's why, because I've been on vacation.
Because you've been in the Caribbean.
I have been
on an island.
Yeah, I've been
near the Caribbean.
I was in Bermuda. It's okay.
That's Caribbean-esque.
I guess.
Is it considered the Caribbean?
I don't think so. I think it's considered its own thing.
It's got a triangle.
It is, and it's a nice flight from New York. Like New York directly to Bermuda is an hour and a half.
You got direct?
Direct? Well, where are you gonna go?
I don't know, Carolina or Charlotte or something?
Direct flight. Literally, bam, you're there. I will say, just as a little bit of adding into the CloudFocus Weekly, usually when there's a plane with Wi-Fi on it, I'm very happy because I'm like, great Wi-Fi. You love
Wi-Fi.
I can do stuff on board. So on the way down, I was like, I don't know, it's only an hour and a half flight. Should I get Wi-Fi for an hour and a half for like $10? It's like, it seems kind of high. When you're doing when we're flying out to Dreamforce, for example, paying for $10 for an hour for 5 hours. Oh, okay, fine.
Totally worth it.
You'll get some work done. Hour and a half. You're up, you're down. They make you shut it down. So on the way down there, I bought it. I'm a sucker, and and it didn't work for half the time. So then I was like, I was mad. On the way back, it didn't work until 10 minutes before we got to land, and I still paid for it. So I think I'm going to email them and say, excuse me, guys, it didn't work halfway down one side. It didn't work halfway up the other side. But yes, I was chatting with you from. You're like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm about to land.
Yeah,
that's where I was.
Thought you were home.
Yes, I do love that Wi-Fi. But anyway, so we have an agenda today. We have the blog post of the week. We're actually skipping over a blog post, and we're gonna come back to that other blog post. Yeah, but this is the blog post of the week. It's not up yet, but it will be up it'll be up around the podcast, so maybe it'll be up by the time the podcast is up. We'll talk about that. We have a new infographic from Salesforce, part of their social networking infographics series. We have some retirements. We have a retirement. I love when they say retired. So we're going to talk about Blackbaud and Combio and the retirement therein. I know you're just dying to talk about this. This is like your thing. I can see you're like salivating. You're literally salivating.
It's near and dear.
And then we're going to talk about, the last thing is we have a contest, which we've been teasing about. We finalized the contest. We're going to talk about the CloudFocus Weekly Dreamforce 12 fan giveaway contest. What's the difference between a giveaway and a contest? I don't know. But there you go.
And we're literally giving away a fan.
And then we'll have our CloudFocus hat pick of the week, which yours was actually sent in by a big listener of the show.
Mine's kind of an anti-pick.
Oh, it's going to be a pick, but you're not going to like it? You're going to pick something you don't like? You can see the smile on his face.
Let's just wait and see.
Look at the picture of him on the icon, and like imagine him like doing it like with an evil grin.
We should do a show of anti-picks.
Anti-picks. I could do a lot of those.
Anti-pick number one.
I have one that anyway, we'll get into it. All right, so this week we did a blog post in our Getting Ready for Dreamforce. We did the blog post of the week was top conversations and people in the Dreamforce portal.
Yep.
Which was kind of interesting. That'll be at blog.arkusinc.com for your reading pleasure. And it's really for those who are sort of either new to the portal or kind of getting into the portal. For everybody who doesn't know on the planet who still listens to this podcast, even though we're pretty much Salesforce specific here at this point, especially leading up to Dreamforce. So Dreamforce, big event put on by Salesforce, biggest tech conference in the world, North America, world.
I don't know.
Whatever.
One of them.
You know what? In 2 weeks we'll find out how big it is.
Yeah, they'll advertise
and
that.
What they've done over the last couple of years is they've opened up this portal where, actually it's all year round now, where when you register, then you get access to the portal, and then in the portal are all these chatter groups, and so there's lots of them. We actually own and run many of them. Or not many, but a couple.
A few.
Well, things of interest.
Between those here at Arkus, I think we have 4 or 5.
Yeah. We have a couple that are old. Like
old ones that were from
for,
2 years ago
right.
that were meant for specific events.
Yep.
2 years back. but some that still remain active today.
Right. So
and one for this podcast.
And one for the podcast, which you should take note because we'll be talking about it later. So anyway, the blogger who shall be not blogged posted a blog post talking about it, basically saying a couple of the groups you should go to and check out.
Groups to join and people to follow, essentially.
People to follow. I will say, why don't you pick, since he's listed them out, why don't you go ahead and tell me like one of the groups that you follow or that you're interested in, and we'll
that
go
doesn't appear on this list?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, man.
Amazing when I put you on the spot and make you actually show that you know what you're talking about.
Well, there's one that's not on this list that I think is interesting, and it's, I actually picked a few of these for him, which is why this is hard. There's one called Administrators.
Okay.
And I really like the Administrators group because it's a group of admins who are asking questions of other admins.
Mm-hmm.
A lot like the Answers community, but a little less structure. It's more just in chatter, informal. I've got to write this formula, or I've got to do this, or I've got to do that. How would you go about doing this type of thing? How would you go about doing that type of thing? There's a lot of good collaboration going on in there around how to do specific things from an administrator perspective, not a developer perspective, an administrator-only perspective, and I like that.
It brings a good point, actually, about these groups and the discussions that go on, because the way it's sort of being used is sort of in a bulletin board, forum, whatever you want to call them, which have been around for ages and ages. And it's one of the things that I think Chatter doesn't do very well. I think Chatter does great update, 3 comments. Update 3 comments, 2 likes. I don't think Chatter does well. Update 15,000 comments.
Or 3 comments, reply to second comment in line type of thing.
Right.
That forums does a lot better.
Forums, right. And forums is just, they've been around so long, they've figured out how you can link back to the original one, how you can quote, all that stuff, so you can read through a forum, a good forum, if you can read through pages of it and know what everybody's talking about and not get lost. Anyway, so mine would be Football Fanatics at Dreamforce. That's my pick.
Didn't you create that one?
I was gonna pick the other one I created.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
That's a good one. There's always football at Dreamforce.
So there's a group in that we created that has over 100 members. But basically, we started because we're big football fans, and we wanted to sort of have a talk about football and who's talking about football. So if you're in the Dreamforce portal, you go in Dreamforce and you're a football fan, we'll actually be posting where we're going to go watch the Thursday night game, because there's a game on Thursday night. So
it involves the New York team.
It does involve a New York team, so it's going to be, for one of the people in this office, it's going to be a big deal.
The partner who shall remain nameless.
Who shall remain a big Giants fan.
We created that group when the Jets played the Pats in that memorable 45-3 game.
I don't remember.
I remember what happened in the playoffs the time
there you
after.
go. Oh, wow, you just lost some. You just lost about
let's
3
keep
points.
going.
All right.
I just lost Steve Moe.
There you go. So that's at blog.arkusinc.com, so you can go read up on that and the other posts, of course. Next up is Salesforce infographic on the perfect LinkedIn post.
I love these infographics.
Yeah, so they've done a couple. I think I've done the perfect Twitter, perfect Twitter, perfect Facebook, and this is the third.
Yeah, I think I don't recall the perfect tweet. I do recall the perfect. I do recall the perfect Facebook post, and this one reminds me of it. The blueprint for the perfect LinkedIn status update, because they're very similar in the way that you do it, and they really do a good job of pointing out, like, let's break down the sections of a status update, and let's talk about what you should do within each of your sections. Like, what's your call to action? Engaging with an image. Use LinkedIn insights to know who you're actually talking to.
Yep.
I really think that they do a very good job. When I say they, I'm talking about Salesforce and Salesforce's social team here. In this case, it was written by Jennifer Burnham. They do a really great job of pointing out how to do this stuff. They do have a link here. I was going to say they should have a link here for the rest of them, and they do.
I was just about to cut you off and be like, "There's 6 of them." And
there's quite a few. There's the social media blueprints.
Right.
So there's
Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and blogs.
Yeah.
So there are 6, and you can download them all. They're very good. Yeah, they're cute. They're cute little infographics. They're sort of well done. They're done as a blueprint style. I will say I do some of the media publishing for Arkus Incorporated, and I find one of the things that I do is I always think about whatever network I'm on, I know there's bots and things you can say, send it out, go, post to all my different networks, but they're all sort of different, and they all kind of want to be treated a little bit differently.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's part of my way.
You wouldn't put a tweet on Facebook, because Facebook you can do a lot more with. Like, Twitter tries to do things with what you give it, like links to pictures and things, but it depends on where you're viewing it and this and that.
Right.
I think you have to think about where you're posting, what you're posting, because of how it's going to be displayed to the end user.
So you almost shouldn't, and again, unless if there are engines out there that does this very, very well, great, let me know. But basically, you should go to each one of these and post via what it's supposed to be. So like Google Plus is sort of a hybrid between Facebook and Twitter, meaning you can use hashtags, you can mention people pretty easily. On Facebook, obviously, you can mention people, but it's not as easy as Twitter and Google, and it doesn't. If you're from a page, it doesn't allow you to mention those people. So it's kind of a little bit odd. And again, no hashtags. And then if you're on LinkedIn, it's like it's a much more public thing. You're doing it from the page. You can't comment as the page. So if I'm on Salesforce, I can't comment. It's one of the things I mentioned in the infographic. You can't comment as the page. In Facebook, if you're on Arkus Inc.,
it tells you. It's like you are commenting.
Yeah, you're
as
commenting
Arkus
as
Inc.
this person. And then Google Plus, you can do both. You can sort of comment as the person. Anyway, a little Dreamforce plug. I'm running a session with another blogger called Building Your Brand.
Well, who's that other blogger? You can mention him.
Mike Gerhardt?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, he's the button-click admin. Why would I not mention him? And we will talk about this type of stuff. We actually have there's a slide that talks about your marketing arsenal. I think we call it ammo. So we talk about how to do this. Ammo, yeah. It's a good slide.
Are so cool.
Oh, we're so cool.
Did you see that article about... I'm bringing us way off track. Did you see the article about Google Plus extending itself into the enterprise?
Yes, I did.
Should we save that for next week? Because it's an in-depth topic that's like is Google Plus coming after Chatter type of...
Yeah, the articles are kind of going down more after Yammer than Chatter.
Of course, Yammer, but
yeah.
When you think going after Yammer, you think going after Chatter.
Sure, and I haven't actually got to play with it, so let's leave it till next week.
Let's talk about that next week. Teaser.
Speaking of teasers, when a company buys another company and kills it off...
Oh, man.
Is that a teaser?
No.
Why don't you take this one, Justin?
That's not a teaser. So, we saw the writing on the wall. I think we talked about it on our podcast. Maybe.
What haven't we talked about on our podcast?
I don't know. But Blackbaud, the big monster in the room in the nonprofit technology universe, purchased
makers of
Razor's Edge, Financial Edge, and then a bunch of online ones that they've bought over the years that I can't even remember all of them. But Razor's Edge and Financial Edge are like the big Blackbaud products.
Right.
I think there's a few others that are like not quite so behemoth, more in the middle range. I can't exactly remember all of them. Let's see. Luminate CRM, that's a big one. eTapestry, that's a smaller one. So anyway, they purchased or merged with Convio.
Well, that's a big difference.
I feel like they bought them.
Okay. There's a big difference between
acquired them.
Okay.
They acquired Convio.
And Convio was?
Another nonprofit technology company who was more advanced. They had, I felt like, a better set of solutions if you were looking to be more web-based.
Mm-hmm.
They had web-based products, cloud-based products, front-end stuff to put up fundraising pages, things of that nature. And they also happened to have a product called Common Ground, which, aptly named, was the common ground between Convio's product that managed nonprofit fundraising and marketing really, really well, and Salesforce, which leveraged the Force.com platform to put this product on top of. So I remember us having this exact conversation. It was like, wow, Blackbaud just bought Convio. I wonder what they're going to do with Common Ground, because it's sort of
big competitor.
A competitor.
Right. And on a different
and
platform.
It's sitting on a different platform. It's not a Convio product sitting on a Convio platform. It's a Convio product sitting on Force.com. It's very different.
Right.
And they've decided to retire Common Ground.
I love that. Retire.
And they
sort
did
of a forced retirement. That's
sort
not,
of, yeah. So, I mean, what
Common
what
Ground
Black
didn't stand up and be like, you know what, my knees are blown. I can't. I
gotta retire. I can't do it.
Yeah, really. I've set all the records I want to set. Peace out. No, you're being basically taken out to the shed or taken behind the shed, as it were.
So what Blackbaud is saying publicly is that customers of Common Ground don't need to make any decisions or changes at this time. They're evaluating needs. It's going to be supported through March of 2014.
2014.
March. So that's like a year and a half.
Oh, yeah, but that's not. I mean, in enterprise technology space.
No, you got to start thinking about it now.
Yeah, you're literally like, okay, what's our plan to get off this?
Yeah, definitely.
And that's support. So, you never know what they'll do. I'm sure there'll be people who maybe they'll I don't know, would they open source it?
Probably not. The foundation not too pleased with this. They posted something on their website.
Salesforce Foundation.
The Salesforce Foundation started. Sorry. So they talked about we're flexible, we're open, we're behind you. We know you've been using Common Ground. It's been geared towards like a mid-market of nonprofits, and essentially they put up a post like here's four products that could maybe get you started for what to do.
Right.
They mentioned 4 products. They link to their certified consulting partners to help them build something themselves.
Right.
And I'm trying to see if we're actually on this list of. We are. There we are. That's good. So they link to
the most embarrassing part of the podcast almost just happened.
Almost.
Let's see if we're. Oh no, we're not. Oh god.
Oh boy. Someone email somebody. But Common Ground had a decent listing on the App Exchange. They have 27 reviews, 4 out of 5 stars, which looks pretty good for a product. 4.2 out of 5 has some really great reviews on it. And I know, people personally in the MVP community that have been affected by this, told their story of being called into a room and saying, effective, within a couple of weeks, your job is no longer because, you work now at Blackbaud, having worked at Convio, and your job was to work on Common Ground, and we're retiring it. We're not working on it anymore. And we're going to support it, air quote, but that doesn't mean new things.
Right.
So you don't have a job come October. And, that's just the way it is. And, fellow Salesforce MVP gets I'm sure she'll land. I just gave away that it's a she, which I shouldn't have done.
Now
I'm sure this person
now you're down to 50%.
Will land on their feet. Because they're bright and smart and a Salesforce MVP. Throw that on your resume. You work anywhere. But it's kind of a shame because here's this thing that's been built up and has been the answer to like mid to large market nonprofits for fundraising. Like you want to go beyond the nonprofit starter pack? Here's an answer.
So that would be my question. So if I'm now a nonprofit and I'm on that plan, right? I'm on Convio Common Ground right now, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I got time, no explicit podcast, but I got time to get off here. I know about the non-starter part, the non-starter pack, which I actually have played with recently, like did a fresh install for a project I'm doing, and I was like, wow, it's really changed. It's really become, it's much more in depth. I guess
coming along.
It's got stuff that I have never even seen before, like in terms of I've never seen in Salesforce before, which I was kind of like, ooh, this is neat. So, but is there a big gap between what that does? You're shaking your head.
Yeah, there's a gap.
Okay.
There's certainly a gap. And
is it bridgeable?
It's bridgeable by either building stuff yourself or by looking at some of I'll just read them off, the products that the Salesforce Foundation mentions in alphabetical order as to not be biased is AffiniQuest.
Yeah.
I've never heard of AffiniQuest. CauseView, which I have heard of. The nonprofit starter pack itself, which is probably a little bit below. If you're using Common Ground, you're probably not going to want to go to the nonprofit starter pack. And then there's Round Cause, which I've heard of Round Corner who makes it, but I've never seen or heard of their product, Round Cause. Didn't even know they had a product.
Okay.
But I've heard good things about the
company.
And
my guess is, even though we're not in this space, but my guess is that one of those guys will put out a
a converter or
A
something.
converter,
Or
right.
honestly, if I was one of these companies, I'd hire one of those that have been let go from Common Ground, because who knows Common Ground better than the people who work there, and
Right.
they would know exactly where the gaps are and what's stashed where and how to get it out and how to move it, and that would be, you could almost make a practice out of that
Right.
for the next year and a half.
Yep. All right. Well, that's that. We actually now have some lighter news, some good news. Which
Did the slow melodic music just end?
Yes.
And now we're getting.
It was actually that
into
music that got you off the stage. You know, it was the
Oh,
off the Oscars.
yeah.
Get off the stage.
It starts off low and slow, and then it gets louder.
Funny story. I was at a big event, a big ceremony, Hall of Fame. I went to the Football Hall of Fame induction ceremony for one of my favorite players, and many times did I wish that orchestra was there, because there were some of the speakers, not the one I was there for, who just went on and on.
Well, they don't
and
stop
on.
them, do they?
And no, there's no
This
stop.
is their day.
There's no stopping them. And it wasn't even like good stories or fun stuff. It was just on and on. So sidetrack, rat hole, I would have loved to have that music. I mean, if they'd had 15, 20, if they had 20 minutes, like caps, that would have been great.
Well, speaking of music,
Yes.
why don't we talk about the fan giveaway?
All right. So we've been teasing about our Dreamforce 12 fan giveaway. We have done something every year. The last 2 years, we've done T-shirts.
Safe Harbor T-shirts.
Safe Harbor T-shirts.
For those who have Safe Harbor T-shirts,
They are now
they've
extinct.
been retired.
They've been retired. Forcefully retired. No, they might make it back next year. This year we decided to do new T-shirts, which you come by our booth, 334, you can check out. We're doing different T-shirts. But we decided to replace the T-shirt with a fan giveaway sort of fun thing.
This is a way, way better contest.
Yes. Well, it's
the prizes.
The prizes
way better
Yes.
than a T-shirt.
and much less of them. So you really have to
This
actually.
is exclusive. You have to be a listener.
Yes.
And really.
And that was the thought. We want the fans of the show who actually listen to every podcast, who don't just download. Although we do, if you download, that's good too. We wanted them to sort of have a chance. So we're doing a contest, and here's what we're doing. And it might change, so you cannot hold any of my feet to the fire.
Safe Harbor.
Safe Harbor contest.
Do not make any contest decisions based off of what
Yes.
Jason's about to say.
Right. We're going to give away 10 green Apple 8 gig nanos. I said that iPod Nano, so I said that completely wrong. Whatever. 10 Apple iPod Nanos, the 8 gig variety, the green ones, because it's our logo and kind of green. They're going to be engraved with CloudFocus Weekly, hashtag DF12. So cool. And we're going to give them away as part of the show. So you will need to have listened to the show, and I'm about to talk to you about the contest. And we're going to give them away after Dreamforce. So we're going to mail them to you, so you don't even have to take them home with you. You get to see them because they'll be at our booth, like the preview bottle, because we're also doing a listening station at our booth. So you will be able to show up at the booth and listen to the podcast, which will be just awesome. If you've missed it, you can sit there for 20 minutes and either have Justin and I, you can put the earphones on, and Justin and I will sit there and mouth like we're actually talking. Justin's
Good for a nice little break.
Yeah, it's good fun. So here's the way to enter. You need to do basically 5 things, 420 things, but basically it's a few things. One, in every podcast from now until Dreamforce, and we're going to do 3. So episodes 105, which is the one you listen to.
Are we doing one in this one?
Yes.
We are.
106 and 107. You're going to need to listen to. You can always go back. So if you're listening to if I'm telling you the rules in 106, you can go back and listen to 105. It's available, right?
Go on.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. We're going to give a secret passcode word phrase in each one of those. Then all you need to do is have all 3 show up to the booth, write the 3 codes on the back of a business card, and put them into some sort of container, which yet to be determined. Fishbowl.
Can we get a fishbowl, please?
All right, we'll get a fishbowl. So some sort of container at the booth. You drop it in there with the 3 codes on it. Then we, on the air, on a podcast, will pick them out of the hat. Random, and we will then award them to the people.
And we'll make sure. We'll keep score. Like, if we pick one and there's no, they're missing the code, we'll disqualify that
we'll disqualified for that.
Disqualified.
Right.
We'll even name you and say you're disqualified.
And they'll say disqualified. You are the winner,
You've
not
been
today.
retired.
And you need to be a member, This is the one little thing you need to do.
This is a big one.
You have to be a member of the CloudFocus Weekly Dreamforce group.
So don't forget to do that.
Right.
Because I can see people forgetting to do that, and that's a big,
That's a big one.
It's a big one.
All right. So the secret word for this episode, remember, you need to have all three. So you can have all three.
Did you say we're going to repeat them?
No,
So
we're
in
not
106, are we going to repeat?
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
So you're going to have to go back and listen.
You'll have to listen.
Well, this is the start.
So if you listen to this one, you'll know. The secret word is...
Am I saying it? Because
Yes.
it's my words?
Yeah, the secret word is...
Go on.
All right, that's the secret word. So remember...
2 words. Go.
You
on.
need that phrase. Write it down because there'll be 2 more. You'll write all 3 on the back of a business card. Throw it into the bucket at our booth, 334 on the main expo floor, where we're literally in one of the huge aisles. So you should not be able to... You'll
Thoroughfare.
You'll see our logo and you'll know we're there. All right. So then that's it. Let's get to our CloudFocus app pick of the week.
All right. I'm ready to make my anti-pick.
All righty. So talk about your anti-picks.
Let me talk a little bit about this pick.
First of all, let's just say you have picked so many of these people's stuff.
This is why I'm going there. I'm going to go grab my phone. Just fill some time for a second.
Okay,
right.
he's back.
I'm back. So someone sent me a note, or someone sent us a note this morning, a fellow listener.
Yes.
He
Who
said-
should not be named
who won't-
either.
No, we're not naming him.
Because he works for
but-
Salesforce.
Well, that, and he wouldn't appreciate
Wait, and now we
this.
said it's a he, so now all
All those guys. Sorry, Mark Benioff.
very good.
All right, so he sends us this, hey, check out this new app by Salesforce Labs. So let me
Love
start off
MB.
by saying,
Love
let me
PP.
read the description. Loggers brought to you by Salesforce Labs, so it's unofficial and unsupported, but totally awesome.
That's funny.
Okay? You must have an account with Salesforce.com to use this app.
So true.
Of course. So I'm like, cool. I'll take that one as my app. I'll use it. I'll give it a nice review, and I'll like it.
Certainly better than being like looking around right before the podcast and going, "Where's
So
my app?"
Let me type in for you. I'm on the login screen.
Wait, this is not interesting to the podcast. You
Well-
can't hear you. Tell us what you did with it and why you.
Well,
liked
I
it.
can't tell you what I'm doing with it because I want to show you what happens when I try and log in.
Okay.
So I'm gonna.
This is your anti-pick.
This is my anti-pick. So I'm logging in right now. I hit go.
Yep.
I hit login, and I'm holding my phone up in front of you. And what just happened?
It crashed.
It crashed and burned.
Oh.
So here's this app called Logger by Salesforce Labs.
So what does it do if it doesn't crash?
I can't tell you because I've never logged in.
Well, no, but you can see that you can.
Well,
read the thing
supposedly you're supposed to be able to quickly access your contacts or accounts inside of Salesforce and just log things, log emails, log calls. You can check in using some geolocation, I imagine, to your contacts and accounts, create tasks, take notes, share your activity on Chatter. Great. So I try to log into it this morning,
2 for
crash.
2.
I try to log in again this morning, crash. I try and log in again, crash. 3 strikes, you're out. I just tried it again on the air, crash. You just tried it. What happened?
crash.
It does not allow you to log in. So Salesforce Labs, who I used to love and now I kind of hate. Because
Really?
Well, they break a lot of things. They put out a lot of things
Oof.
too fast, and I feel like they don't have to go through the same security standards that those of us who put out apps on the App Exchange have to go through, and they get rigorously tested for security, rigorously tested to make sure that they work, and this and that and the other. I feel like Labs just throws stuff out there on the App Store. This is in the iTunes App Store, so it's like not even in the App Exchange.
How'd they test it? How did Apple test it?
How did anyone test this and not say no? Because I can't even log in. So good idea, kind of cool, showing off some geolocation, showing off some HTML5 it looks like. But I can't log in, guys. Come on.
Yeah, no
Come
good.
on.
I will
And
say
this is version 1.0.1, which means there was version 1.0, which I imagine people weren't able to log into. So I wanted to love you. I wanted to give you a chance.
By the way, Justin,
This is the anti-pick.
CloudFocus app pick of the week sponsored this week. Salesforce Labs.
Sorry, Labs. I mean, guys, step it up. Come on.
and
this has ratings, and it's like actually. Oh no, not enough. It's rated 4+, but I don't know what.
No,
that
rated.
means.
That's the.
What does that mean?
This is showing Justin how to use the iTunes Store. 4+. That's the rating for the age.
Rated 4+.
Right, 4+.
Customer ratings, we've not received enough to display an average.
Go ahead and drop one right now.
I don't feel like giving them a negative review
You should
other than right here where I've done it already.
All right.
So that's enough.
All right.
Sorry.
Yep.
I wanted to like it.
Yeah.
It looked interesting.
Yeah.
Geolocation. HTML5.
That would have been cool.
Mobile.
I'm glad I didn't send it over to the person who showed me nameless, as I was like, it's a sales tool. Sales guy, go get it.
He was on the original email.
No, I know, but I was going to say, why don't you test this and tell us how it works?
Well, I was going to test it and tell everyone how it works, but I just did. I just told more than everyone, more than Arkus. I told everybody.
So just
the entire universe.
Just for testing, we're both on iPhone 4s, and we're both on the latest iOS version.
Latest iOS
So just
on the hardware iPhone 4. Because I know someone's listening
black
who's going to...
ones. Just so they know.
And they're black. Right.
16 gigabytes.
In case the color matters.
16 gigabytes.
Right.
Just to make sure. Okay. And I have about 400,000 other apps.
I quit it. I opened it back up. I quit it. I literally quit it. I went for it. Could not get
I tried it twice. Once saying, don't remember my name once. All right.
Yeah, I tried that too. I unchecked. I checked.
So the unpick of the week. Well, mine is actually a pick of the week. I'm moving on.
Go on.
Mine is called... well, actually, mine is from... I'm reading a lot about this. So this has been... I've made my pick of the week, Zeit, a trillion times. I think you've even become a Zeit user.
I have. I tweeted something from Zeit this morning.
Love Zeit. So anyway, sometimes I see these apps show up in Zeit that it's like, they're talking about it. So then I go look at it, and then I was like, let me go try it today. And again... This is a little bit pricey for me just to try, but I'm glad that it works because it actually works well. So anyway,
if it didn't work and it's not you paid a ton, but like if this didn't work,
I've done that so often. I just buy it. I love apps, so I'll just buy them.
This looks neat.
Yeah, so this is called Gemini. It's for OS X, so it's for the Mac in the Mac App Store. And what it does, it's basically one big thing, which is it finds duplicates on your file system and tells you where they are. And then allows you to dedupe them, remove them. So it's for files. If you've owned a Mac for more than 4 minutes, you sort of have files in different areas, you've moved them around, and you basically start to get duplicates of things. You have the same file over and over again. And reality is, drives are getting smaller. I mean, they were getting bigger, but now with SSD, which is where all Macs are going, they're getting smaller, or they're getting more expensive. So to get a 500 gigabyte drive, that's a lot. So
and the viewers into files are getting better. So, like, the file itself can be anywhere.
Right.
Because you're just using an app to
get
to the file.
You don't folderize things anymore. So, anyway, this is a great app. It's Gemini. It's $9.99. It's a little bit on the pricey side, but it's a very good app, and I actually tried it, and I think it's worth it.
Got a question for you about it.
Hold on. It's made by MacPaw. And, again, what you can do is... So, I tried it a couple times. I took my whole Dropbox folder. And I
think you answered my question.
I dropped it on top, and I said, go for it. And it went through. It does it very fast. It went through. I mean, there's 4 gigs in Dropbox. Went through, found them all. It has this nice interface where you can pick what you want. It'll show you them next to each other. It tells you. It's very smart too. It's not just naming. It's not just file name. It's date, and it kind of looks at the size of things. So it knows. Like it didn't find anything weren't dupes.
And it's not like crawling through the files to know like this Word doc is identical to this Word doc.
No, it's not doing that. But it's doing size, last open, name, date. But then even with images, it's looking at like the dimensions. So if it's image111.jpg and image111.jpg, well, those look like dupes. But one could be 240 by 400. One could be 10 by 10 pixels. Who knows? So anyway, it was very accurate. It's got a great sense of humor. I guess what makes it even more fun is it's a great sense of humor. It basically has all these quips as you're doing it. It says, it's like saying things like, we're running through your system. How you like that? And and then when you delete things, it puts it through a shredder at the bottom. They'll come back out.
So you point this at a folder.
You can drag a folder onto it. You can be in contextually. You can select a folder and say, go for it.
You can't just say, well, I imagine you could say, just go for it. Go for my whole machine. But you can also not say, don't you dare look at this folder, because I don't want you to look at this folder.
Yeah, it's
like
not
our Google Drive folder, for example, which is
it's not
Arkus
something that's
folder.
Constantly looking. Although again, maybe it's something. Let's see, move duplicates to trash.
I guess what I'm saying is like you control what it's going through.
Yes,
it won't just go through your whole computer. Because
right.
if it went through our Google Drive, I'm sure it would find duplicates of things, but we don't.
But maybe that'd be good.
Maybe bad though.
well, who cares? It's just finding duplicates. It doesn't delete them. It just tells you where
It
they are.
just tells you.
Yeah.
And then you have to do something.
And then you can say auto put them into the. It makes
It's
sure
like
that you don't
demand
just delete
tools
stuff.
for files.
Yeah, very good. Anyway, Gemini, $10. Again, a little bit. I like these little tiny little apps. Like, well, actually, Moom, which is one of my favorites, and I love Moom more and more.
Oh
I love
yeah,
Moom.
that's the one where it
the
allows you to move the.
Yep. 500. That was $10 as well. Although that has paid itself off a million times over. But anyway, Gemini, check it out if you like it. Let me know. So that's it. That is the CloudFocus app picks of the week. Remember, as we lead up, you want to listen to all the podcasts. We'll be talking about Dreamforce when we're giving away our secret hints for the CloudFocus contest, fan contest. And we'll be back next week with a new podcast. And until then, and as we always like to say here in the Times Square studio, enjoy those cloudy days.